Hey amazing parent, it's Dr. Lindsay here with this week's psychology-based parenting tips about why consistent bedtimes are so important at all ages. Bedtime falls under the consistency category in my 5 C's parenting framework. Young children's lives are all about change. Every day they're growing, they're constantly learning new things, and they're being exposed to new people and new environments. This is all wonderful and necessary for their development. As parents, we can help our little ones to best integrate all of this new information by providing as much consistency in their lives as possible. This covers everything from their daily routines to their bedtime schedules to what they eat daily. Kids thrive on consistency, and I can teach you some simple strategies to set your kids up for success by adding consistency throughout your parenting practice. When it comes to consistency with regard to your child's sleep, so far I've talked about creating a consistent bedtime routine, creating a sleep-friendly bedroom environment, and how to manage disruptive bedtime behaviors in a 4-part sleep hygiene series. Sleep hygiene being the environment and daily routines that create consistent, uninterrupted sleep, which is pretty much every parent's goal, right? You can find those episodes in the playlist on my channel page called How to Raise Great Sleepers. I'll link to it in the description too. Getting a good night's sleep is crucial for your child's overall health and development. When kids get sufficient amounts of sleep, they achieve proper growth spurts, cognitive development, learning and memory, and boosts in immune function, as well as improved overall emotional well-being. Ensuring your child is getting enough good sleep at night is one of the best things that you can do to help them thrive. Today, we'll focus on the actual time that your child goes to bed, aka bedtime. Think back on the last 5 days and what time your kids went to bed. Now, I mean actually close their eyes in a quiet and dark room. Think about it. Not what time they started brushing their teeth, not what time you finished reading the last bedtime story. When did they actually start to fall asleep? Was there more than a 15-minute range in those times across the week? If not, congratulations. You're already doing a great job being consistent in this aspect of your child's bedtime routine. But if you reflect back and your child's bedtime varied by more than 15 minutes, chances are that you could benefit from this lesson on consistency. If you vary children's bedtimes frequently or let them decide on their own what time to go to bed, you're likely going to pay for it in their mood and behavior the next day, or even 2 days later when their fatigue really catches up with them. This is especially important for younger children, but I'll tell you, it holds up as they grow too. If I look back on the past week for my 14-year-old, there was only one night when their bedtime varied by more than 15 minutes. That was a conscientious decision that was made in advance when we decided to watch a big kid movie after the younger kids went to bed, and this type of variation can be managed at that age. Older kids can tolerate staying up a little later when a friend or a family member is visiting from out of town, or for a special party that runs a little later than their normal bedtime. But really try to limit it to one night a week at most so they don't fall behind on that precious sleep. Why is going to bed at the same time every night helpful? Consistency is the key to your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is your body's internal clock. By establishing consistent bedtime, you're training your body to release the hormone melatonin at that time of night, which helps your body start to feel drowsy and promotes a better night's sleep. Grown-ups and children alike benefit from a consistent bedtime. Sleep needs change with age. The recommended bedtime for children under age 5 is between 7 and 8:30 p.m. with a total sleep duration of 10 to 14 hours. That duration includes naps if your child is still napping. In the 5 to 11 year age range, kids still need 9 to 11 hours of sleep per night. A reasonable bedtime would be between 8 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. Getting enough sleep is necessary for them to have improved attention, behavior, learning, memory, and overall mental and physical health. Teenagers are recommended to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night with a bedtime range between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m., depending on their school start time and extracurricular activities. It's important for teens to prioritize sufficient sleep for their overall health, cognition, and emotional well-being. All of these recommendations vary based on children's individual sleep needs and their daily schedules, so don't get too caught up on a specific number. Rather, observe your child's energy level, mood, and signs of fatigue, things like yawning, the 1,000-yard stare, or ramping up behavior. Use these recommendations and guidelines to get a better idea of how much sleep your child needs. I always err on the side of caution and schedule closer to the maximum sleep time for my children, knowing that a little quiet time lying in bed in the morning is just fine. I'd love to hear from you in the comments about how these recommendations line up with your family's schedule. Schools are getting better about having later start times to accommodate children's natural sleep schedules, but think about what time your child's school starts and what time you need to leave the house to get there. Then backtrack based on how long it takes to calmly get ready, have breakfast, and pack their school bag. Then add at least half an hour buffer for days when they're really tired and sleep in, because you don't want to have to wake them up to get ready for school. Then rewind another 9 to 11 hours, depending on how long your child needs to sleep, to feel fully rested. That ends up being a pretty early bedtime. Establishing a consistent bedtime routine and ensuring your child gets enough sleep is crucial for their physical and mental well-being. We have always prioritized sleep and an early bedtime for our children. As our family grew and our children started to share rooms, we started using a staggered bedtime routine. The youngest goes to bed, and then 15 minutes later is followed by the next oldest, and then 15 minutes later is followed by the next oldest, and so on. For reference, when they were ages 1, 3, 5, and 7, their bedtimes were 7 p.m., 7:15 p.m., 7:30 p.m., and 7:45 p.m. The 1-year-old also took a 90-minute nap during the day. I pay close attention to the clock, and we're rarely off by more than a few minutes during bedtime. When your kids are young, try to make it a priority to start dinner early to be more relaxed during the bedtime routine and still keep to an early schedule. I'm a big fan of adjusting bedtimes based on a 15-minute increment. If I notice that my children are A, taking longer than usual to fall asleep, or B, waking up earlier than usual, or C, asking for a later bedtime as they get older, I consider altering their bedtime by 15-minute increments. You can always push bedtime back later, but once you go later, it's tough to return to an earlier time unless they're ill or stayed up too late in the night or two before, or have a really active day. Take a moment to think about your child's bedtime and whether you've noticed any changes in their mood or energy level related to their bedtime. Think about their morning timeline and backtrack to allow enough sleep for their growing bodies based on the age recommendations listed above. Then make a commitment to an early bedtime and relish in the well-rested, stable behavior that you notice. Bedtime is part of the consistency category in my 5 C's parenting framework. If you're new to the 5 C's, look in the description below this video to find more parenting resources, including a video about the 5 C's parenting framework and a link to sign up for my weekly newsletter to be sure that you never miss any of my new tips. Okay, amazing parent, that wraps up today's episode. Thanks for joining me to fill your parenting toolbox with psychology-based tools to feel more confident and capable in your parenting. If you found this video helpful, I'd invite you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more parenting with psychology tips. Join me next week to learn about the origin of the 5 C's to amazing parenting. In the meantime, check out my free resources listed below in the description, and if you're ready to take your parenting to the next level with my online courses, follow the link in the description below. And keep up the good work on your amazing parenting journey.